Story goes that the woman on horseback you may see around the conference house died of a broken heart when Captain Bill left her. The Conference House Association was established in the 1920s to restore the 17th century manse. It was during the renovations that the ghostly activities began.
Visitor center, so I said, I'm going to come in and watch CNN for a while. I'm sitting at the computer over there. About 20 minutes later, I lock this. I sat on the computer. About 20 minutes later, I come by to get a glass of water. As I'm going by, these keys are going like this. And I said, that's weird. I can't be shaking for almost a half an hour like that. Okay, big question mark. Then another time upstairs, I'm looking around in the kids' room, I'm looking at the cracks. Oh wow, we got a little bug there. I'm looking at the cracks and all of a sudden I feel this. And I thought it was Deborah fooling around with me, because a lot of people ask about ghosts. So I told Deborah, and she's in the other side of the house, doing there, taking off the dust. And it's like, okay, that was weird too. Another time I'm sitting again at the computer over there, and it was around dusk, and I see a lady dressed in white go by this window. And I thought, at the time they were having a meeting also at the visitor center, and I thought it was a reenactor because she had like colonial type clothes. So I run to the door, and he's going to point at the visitor center. I go out here, say, where is she? And she must have been, I'd say, about 70, 80 years old. Says, okay, maybe she went around the house and said, take a look at the grounds. So I run around. There's nobody. So I was like, okay, we're gonna have to think about this. Yeah.
The old Staten Island newspaper, The Transcript, reported workmen heard disembodied laughter and invisible voices in the upstairs bedrooms. The former caretaker, Mrs. Malone, saw a dark shape moving about the house, and while dusting a room on the ground floor, she put her hand right through a British soldier. Ethel Johnson killed a young woman on this landing with a crooked knife.
We're having a costume affair where we're doing a centennial kind of event that we do every anniversary of the signing of not the signing, but the meeting, the peace conference. And this lady's standing outside where she was in full costume, and she looked up and she saw this gentleman standing in the window, and he had a lovely soldier costume on, very, very nice. And she was talking to her friend, and she glanced back up, and he was gone. So she came in. The caretaker was not the lady who lives here now, but so she came in, and she said to the lady, who was that gentleman with that beautiful costume on? And she said, well, nobody's been in the house. And she said, oh, I saw this man. He was standing in the window, and he had on a costume, and she described it. And they started looking around. They checked upstairs. They checked down because nobody was supposed to be in the house.
Psychics feel that the kitchen was used as a hospital. Their readings revealed that British soldiers were buried on the property, which might explain Revolutionary War soldier apparitions in the house and the garden.
Thousands visit 25 restored buildings annually. Some perceptive tourists get a real feel for the place and a supernatural peek into the past.
Welcome to historic Richmond Town, and my name is Helen, and I've worked here for about 12 years. I'm actually literacy coordinator here and educator here, but I can just tell you that since I've been here, I would say every year that I've been here, I've heard stories. The one that's most talked about and most written about is the guy in Lake Tyson House, which is the first time I was ever in that building as an interpreter. I was in the parlor in the front, and it was summertime, it was quiet. A woman came in to visit and said to me, do you ever sense anything here? And I said, well, it's my first time in here, so I haven't been in here. But why do you? And she said, yes, I feel a youthful presence. I thought, okay. And I subsequently found out that other people have sensed children there. There were 4 children who did die in the house in the past. I don't know, but people have sensed that. Another time I was in there, and a man came in and was talking to me in the parlor, and he turned, and he had felt someone walk behind him, and he thought it was the other interpreter from the kitchen, and it wasn't. You know, and I have another friend and colleague who worked here, who told me that she was in there with a class one day and was coming down the stairs, and she felt a child take her hand. It wasn't one of the children from the class, and she felt this child holding her hand all the way down the stairs. And she's the same person who told me she heard footsteps coming up to the desk in this building. But so she seems very sensitive, and she's gotten some unusual pictures.
The apparitions have been seen at the cemetery. Could it be Pretty performing a phantom dance for her dearly departed?
So I was over there with 2 other girls, and we'd be walking, and all of a sudden we heard whistling, and we heard Pretty coming down this way, and she walked around. She was dancing and skipping, and she walked into the cemetery, and it was snowing, and the snow poured into the dance.
So much about this, except that one time they had something happen in here, and candle blew out. I don't know, something weird happened in here. But that was strange. Now that we just heard that noise. Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. I've never heard anything. Maybe it could be our energy too. Because when you get, or it could be our own energy.
Richmond Road is a major thoroughfare through the historic village, and passerby as well as tourists have spotted little faces looking out the antique windows.